It is 8:09 p.m. this Wednesday, September 7th. That's right, the month of September. And we're chilling. We got Thursday night football tomorrow, less than 24 hours away. We're going to go into everything you need to know. We're going to update everybody on LOC, matchups, fantasy relevant players for the first game. So everyone just tune in, chill out, and let the good times roll.
Welcome into the DNZ Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Zach, joined as always with my fellow LOC league mates Drake and Nick. We're here to bring you the latest news and knowledge in the world of fantasy football. And it is officially week 1. Football is back starting tomorrow, September the 8th.
Let's go!
We're going to give you guys all a quick preview for week 1, especially in the world of fantasy football. We're going to give you a breakdown of our LOC league and what the matchups are going to look like. We're going to go over our favorites, some stardoms, some sit-ems. So everybody sit back and we'll get this thing going. Drake, why don't you take it away?
Finally, just one more sleep before the NFL season kicks off tomorrow. We'll fly through some news and notes, a lot of stuff happening before the season starts. So we'll start off. Chris Godwin sheds his knee brace and was a full participant in practice on Wednesday. Seems like he's possibly ready for week 1, which seems astronomical. At this point, wasn't really expected for him to be ready for week 1, but seems possible. I wouldn't expect a huge workload out of him, but it's good to see him out there possibly for week 1.
Are we worried about Tom?
I'm not too worried about Tom. There's some off-the-field stuff that maybe could be a bit of a distraction, but I won't be too worried about it. It's still Tom Brady. Other quarterback news, I guess, along with Tom Brady. Trubisky's quarterback 1 there in Pittsburgh. We'll see how long that lasts, but he did get named a captain. Looks like Kenny Pickett is that second quarterback listed on the depth chart, I'm pretty sure, but Trubisky's going to be rocking and rolling for that QB1 there in Pittsburgh. And some injuries have been popping up here in the last week or so. Guys that you maybe were planning on starting that now are in question. Allen Lazard is dealing with an ankle issue, so it seems like Sammy Watkins could be that number 1 option week 1 for Green Bay. And we all know how Sammy Watkins does on some week 1s. Maybe he's ready to rock and roll if Lazard doesn't play, dealing with that ankle injury. Also, a couple groin injuries taken over for George Kittle. He suffers a groin injury in practice on Monday. He's questionable for week 1. His status is day to day. Chase Edmonds also hurts his groin on Wednesday in practice. He was a limited participant still, but he is questionable for week 1. And seems like Antonio Gibson's going to be back to his full workload that he had in 2021.
What a roller coaster.
So I think Antonio Gibson, if you've got him, you're going to be kind of forced to put him in your starting lineup. I know I've got him in LOC. I'm going to be rocking and rolling with Gibson this year. We'll see how long that lasts. Brian Robinson, swelling in his knee has gone down. He's off crutches. He's not on IR. I think they've got him on the PUB list. So we'll see how Brian Robinson comes along here in the next few weeks. Ertz is also, Zach Ertz, tight end for the Cardinals, day-to-day with a calf injury. And it also looks like James Robinson is going to be active for week 1 after tearing his Achilles last year. And then a few guys, Waddle, Higgins, London, guys who have been dealing with injuries the past few weeks, are back to practicing, still listed as questionable, so still need to keep your eye on those guys, but seems like they should be ready for week 1. And now we go into the Thursday night preview.
Shit, and there are some stars in this game tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Is this a possible Super Bowl, preview?
Quite possible, like you said. Yeah, I could definitely see it.
Yeah, looking at the fantasy potential out of this game, though, I mean, I know most of our listeners all remember the Rams-Chiefs games from a couple years back. I think this game could be one of those.
Yeah, so you're probably going to want to play most of these guys. I mean, we can just start from the top for the Bills. I mean, you're rocking and rolling with Josh Allen. There's no question. Set it, forget it. Same thing with Stephon Diggs. And after that, it gets a little bit murky. I mean, if you got Gabe Davis on your team, I mean, depending on your roster size, is Gabe Davis a guy you're willing to throw in at a flex spot maybe? I mean, he should be set, rocking and rolling. I mean, it should be a high-scoring game.
I have a Bills fan at work, and this dude swears by Gabe Davis, so I think I'm going to swear by Gabe Davis. I know I have him in a couple leagues. Based on those roster sizes, I think I'm splitting those starts. So, kind of hedge myself in the Gabe Davis world. But I'm expecting big things out of him. He might be breakout player of the year candidate for the whole NFL.
I'm jumping on the Gabe Davis train as well. I mean, the last time we saw him on the field, he torched the Chiefs for 3 touchdowns. So he shows he can get open when Diggs is being double teamed. So I'm a firm believer in that. So I think he's going to find ways to get open. I think they have spent the entire offseason analyzing that film and trying to scheme ways to get him open when Diggs is being tightly guarded, being double teamed, things like that. So I think they're going to try and find ways to get him open.
Yeah, it's definitely going to benefit him going all offseason as the number 2 wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of having a Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders there who was in front of him all last season, which is one thing that kind of holds me back a little bit from Gabe Davis. I mean, I know he's still somewhat young, but he still had Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders play in front of him last year. Why didn't he break out last year? Why wasn't he getting more runs? That's my biggest question with him. I really probably am going to get a lot of answers week 1 and see if he's ready to actually rock and roll as that legit number 2 wide receiver in a heavy passing offense that could be a week-to-week starter. And, the Stephon Diggs came out earlier this week and was like, you better draft Gabe Davis in your fantasy football teams. I mean, you kind of take that stuff with a grain of salt, but it's still all good vibes, and I wouldn't feel bad starting Gabe Davis. I mean, it's the first game of the season. If you've got only Gabe Davis is the only player on your roster that's playing in this game on Thursday, you're going to be inclined to throw him in there just to have something in the game there.
Right.
But
plus, I mean, you think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Josh Allen's probably going to drop back to pass at least 40 times, 40 or 50 times, you think?
I'm
so
on the Angry Josh train this year. I think we're going to see angry Buffalo Bills Angry Josh.
Gabe Davis is projected 13.11 points, and I could certainly see him outperforming those projections. It gets a little bit murkier when you kind of start talking about the Bills running backs. I think, especially it's early on, I think Singletary's going to have a little bit more of a workload early on, as opposed to James Cook, who is listed as that number 2 running back. So if you're super desperate at running backs, maybe you do need to start him, but I probably want to see how this backfield shakes out before you start feeling confident.
I would assume.
And Singletary or Cook, kind of see how those snap shares go.
Yeah, I'm assuming the league as a whole is collectively in better running back position than to have to start one of these guys right away. I think, like you just said there, James Cook could emerge later in the season as a dominant-ass motherfucker, but you probably don't have to make that move right now, so I wouldn't. Everyone's 0-0.
Yep, maybe just sit and wait, see how this backfield plays out.
I think it's a good litmus test to see how much they're willing to trust him in the offense. So
absolutely,
I think for right now, if you have him on your team, you stick with Singletary until you have reason to prove that they're not wanting to use him as a primary running back in their backfield.
I think if you're a Singletary owner, you kind of hope he goes off week 1, week 2, then you try to trade him off.
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly what I would hope for. And how do you guys feel about Dawson Knox? He did just sign a contract extension here today on Wednesday. I think it's a 4-year extension. So I mean,
4-year, $56 million, I believe.
They're pretty committed to the Dawson Knox here.
I did not
so
see that yet.
He's wasn't too
That's big money.
What did he finish last season? He's projected 10.4 points, which is about median for tight end position. A lot of people maybe only have Dawson Knox. So do you guys know who has Dawson Knox in our LOC league?
I do not.
I have him in a couple leagues. I know that, and I'm really not too excited about him. But that's a lot of money, and money gets me excited.
Because Nate got him in his starting roster spot.
You don't pay that kind of money.
Dawson Knox was the number 8. He was the number 8 tight end. I mean, it just seems like he doesn't ever get a bunch of volume. He's really touchdown dependent, especially when Gabe Davis and Diggs are pretty formidable in the red zone, and you have a running quarterback. And,
they don't seem to use their tight end very often.
So I wouldn't be feeling too confident in Dawson Knox, but at least he's in a high-powered offense. If you got to rock and roll with him, it's not the worst guy to have at your tight end position.
Mm-hmm.
And moving on to the Rams here, I think this is where you could maybe make some bold start sit takes here if you wanted to. I mean, the Bills had one of the best pass defenses last year in 2021, so maybe you're a little bullish on Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's got no rushing upside, and he has been dealing with that elbow stuff all offseason. Like, who knows how much that's actually affecting him. But I mean, are you guys feeling pretty good about Stafford? I mean, I think most people, Stafford is their starting quarterback on their roster. And I mean, but are you bullish at all on Stafford week 1 here?
No. I think he'll be fine. If it's been hampering him, and it's been hampering him all off season, they have a quarterback guru and a great offensive head coach. So if it's a really big deal for them, I think they're going to find ways to scheme. I mean, Cooper Kupp is a wizard when it comes to route running. So if they need to find shorter passing game and scheme ways to get open for those guys, I think they'll make it work for Matthew Stafford.
I'm really torn on making that call. Am I allowed to plead the fifth here? I think that there is going to be a ton of points scored in this game, and those have to come from somewhere. And there's two dudes right there, Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. I don't know what to say. I'll defer to you guys here.
Well, I'm looking at, because Jacob is the owner of Matthew Stafford. I think he's going to he has to rock and roll with Matthew Stafford here for week 1.
At least week 1, yeah.
So,
with everything, with all of these decisions you're making, you're going to find out real quick whether this is going to be an every week starter or someone you have to plug and play on a week by week basis.
Yep. And moving on to the wide receiver position for the Rams. I mean, Cooper Kupp said it, forget it. Don't even need to think twice about that.
Allen Robinson.
I'd be ready to fire up Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I think
ahead.
I think he's almost a set it and forget it kind of guy.
I agree. I've got him in a few leagues. I am all on the Allen Robinson train this year. Does kind of feel like a set it and forget it in this kind of offense. So the tough question here, similar to the Bills and kind of similar to the whole NFL almost at this point, but Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson are kind of that 1A, 1B according to Sean McVay. So obviously Akers is dealing with that Achilles that he suffered last season, but he did come back and play in the playoffs. So who knows how much that is actually affecting him and whether he's back to full speed 100%. Cam Akers before the injury. I think I like Cam Akers more than Darrell Henderson. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think Darrell Henderson still has value in fantasy. And I mean, I would maybe be a little scared starting Cam Akers week 1.
I think both of these guys, if you need to play them, they should be a flex spot only. But if you have the depth on your team, there's both players that I would maybe bench week 1 and just kind of see where they're at. And you know what? If Cam Akers is on your bench and he goes off for 20 points, then you know he's healthy. You play him next week, and if you lose week 1, I don't think it's going to be the end of your season. That's kind of how I think about it.
I want to talk a little bit more about Allen Robinson because I think this is the dude that everyone, and they are looking at Cam Akers the same way. Everyone's got a little bad taste in their mouth from last season, and Achilles, that's really hard to come back
And he
from.
did underperform in the playoffs a little bit. He was going against really stout run defenses.
Sure, the best when you're playing in the
and you were still
time.
shocked that he came back that soon. Mm-hmm. Now he's had a whole offseason.
Right. And then with Allen Robinson, though, this is a dude that for about 3 to 4 years now has always been ready to break out. And then he was in the trash can last year.
He's always been in the trash can.
He's had a 1,000-yard season, I believe, the year before, didn't he?
While living in a trash can.
Yeah, Chicago. Anyway. Allen Robinson, I think, is going to be one of the players of the week to watch for. That this dude's either going to... It's going to be 50-50. I want to see what Sleeper says on that start ratio, depending on the league. And he's going to be a dude that's either going to... People are going to start him, he's going to do nothing, or he's going to be on your bench, and he's going to go off. I think Allen Robinson is that player this week.
And it could be scary for Cooper Kupp owners. I mean, we're going to see how much Allen Robinson is going to, how many targets he's going to command in this offense and see if that hurts Kupp at all. I mean, maybe we should be worried if you're a Cooper Kupp owner about what Allen Robinson is going to do in this offense. Because I think he's certainly an upgrade from Robert Woods. So Tyler Higbee's that tight end here for the Rams. He's probably a backup tight end for most people. It's not a tight end I would be confident in. I would probably be full sit on that unless it's the only guy you got.
Agreed.
But really exciting to have football here in the next day. So I'm probably rooting for the Rams, and they're the reigning champs. I don't really give a fuck, but I just don't like the Bills this year. I want that hype to kind of go down. They're essentially the Super Bowl favorites by
a wide margin.
Pretty much consensus on that deal. So it would be fun to see the Rams kind of come out and beat their ass week 1. So I think I'm pulling for the Rams. But on to much more exciting matchups, LOC matchups. We're going to have Nick's picks of the week. I think he's gone through every matchup. We're going to keep track of this all season long. We do kind of help Venna. We might help him through it a little bit, but it's mostly going to be up to Nick here as we go throughout the season. So, Nick, you got some favorite matchups? You just want to go down the line? Get us started here.
Yeah, I'm going to go down the line. I don't know what you're talking about with this little bit of help. I just went through and made some in-depth analysis into all of these week 1 matchups.
I'm just going to be here to agree or disagree, as I please.
We meant like later on in the season.
So, the way that we're doing this, I'm just reading right down my screen each matchup. I'm going into each team, and I'm also posting the odds based on the time. And you guys got to remember that we're typically setting this at we're typically taping at Tuesdays. It is a Wednesday here today, so these odds could swing like a motherfucker by the time these games actually kick off. But we're going to start with my first matchup against Zach. We got the War Boys versus the Ramondrasaurus Rex. I think you should have gone Ramondra Raptor there.
Told y'all motherfuckers I'd have a cool-ass name by the start of the season.
Hey, hit us up. Leave a comment or fucking hit us up on text. What do you guys think? Ramondrasaurus, Ramondra Raptor.
You're already voted like 2-3. I don't know why you're trying to make this a big deal.
You got a whole league that can place this vote. This is
I like
important
just
to me.
Ramondrasaur. That sounds it's just shorter, but I like it all the way around.
Raptor.
Ramondra Raptor. Maybe he can vary throughout the week as he goes.
Yeah.
Maybe more of a
Like,
Raptor,
see how he's
T-Rex
feeling when he
type
wakes up.
performance. There's a little bit of difference between those.
Well, maybe one week he's going to be just a bull rushing maniac and he's a Ramondrasaurus. Maybe one week he's catching passes out of the backfield and he's a Ramondra Raptor, just picking defenses apart. Who knows?
Yeah, we shall see. I actually hate you for taking Ramondre. That was one of my notes here. So these odds going into week 1, the War Boys, myself, 49%. Zach is favored the Ramondra Raptors at 51%. Up front pick, I'm going to pick myself.
Of course.
I'm always probably going to pick myself unless I'm playing Jacob. We'll get into that later on. I got Josh Allen.
You've got a lot of Thursday night players.
Yes, indeed. So I am starting Allen Robinson because, like I said earlier,
Yep.
I think and also, like I said earlier, he's going to be that dude that because I started him, he's not going to do jack shit. But if you leave him on your bench, he's going to go off. So the fantasy gods are watching to see that start.
You are rocking
percentage.
with Higbee, who we just declared a sit.
Right. I mean,
Pretty much all you got though. That's your most desperate position, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm in rough shape at tight end. But for my team, Josh Allen, I think we're going to see Angry Josh this year. Like I said earlier in the pod, I think this dude's going to be on a mission. If everyone remembers how his season ended last year, how do you forget that? Just like kind of when Pat lost to Brady and we just came back and shitstormed the league that year. So I think we're going to see Angry Josh. Debo Samuel, I am huge on. I think this dude's going to prove everyone wrong. He's going to be a 20-plus point getter every single week for me.
Might as well just chalk that up as an L this week, Zach.
I guess so.
If this was reality, if I wasn't picking myself, and I'm always going to pick myself, let the pod know, I would probably go Zach here if I was throwing actual money down because Justin Herbert is there. He's probably going to cancel out most of that Angry Josh. I am absolutely terrified of Justin Jefferson. Fuck. So that's scary. But I hate you for picking Ramondre, like I said, so the pick is me. I'm going with me, week 1, put it in the books. Next game, Lance Refrigeration, Drake's team, versus the Sunshine Squad of Brooks Bonham.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that reference is for his
Trevor
team
Lawrence.
name. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
These odds are Lance 53%, Sunshine 47%. I'm going to roll with the favorite there, Lance Refrigeration.
Yeah.
Trey Lance, is he the next Llama? Is he the next Lamar?
Yes, sir.
So you could go absolutely off. You got Saquon there.
Future NFL MVP and Trey Lance.
And then really the big kicker for me in this matchup is Kyler Murray to Hollywood Brown, small man to small man.
That is probably my most
I'm assuming
exciting
that might be lethal.
players to watch on all of my fantasy teams. I can't wait to see what Hollywood Brown and Calamari are going to be like on the same team in the NFL.
Well, I think it also helps knowing that what's his ass there in Arizona is probably on the hot seat, so he's going to be cooking a bunch of shit up, trying to keep his job, really, because he really shouldn't be there to begin with if you ask a lot of people.
I know who gets fired from Texas Tech and gets an NFL gig.
Right. He's literally failed upwards. He failed at
I know
Texas.
what you're saying.
He got fired at Texas Tech, gets a job as the OC at USC, says he's there for the long haul, and a month later he's the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals.
Definitely a rough start
Cliff
getting,
Kingsbury, that's what it
getting
was.
Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs week 1. So we'll be thinking about him. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. And I think Kyler Murray and Hollywood are going to be just fine. But keep it on there, Nick.
Yeah, I'm just rounding out the Sunshine Squad there. I do like Stephon Diggs there. He's obviously going to be a big player. I do think this is a big comeback year for Kittle.
He's hurt right now.
Yeah, he's got that groin injury. Hopefully he's actually playing.
Well, shit, I have Kittle in another league. Might have to
I know,
update
so
that.
do I. But I've got Pat Fryermuth. I should be all right.
In all regards, we're going Lance Refrigeration, owner Drake Watkins.
Boom. Want to know, baby.
here. All right. This next matchup includes my prediction for the league winner other than myself, and that is JT and Company, owned by Makeup Jorgen. If everyone would kindly pause the podcast right now. Fucking live. We're fucking live. If you're listening to this right now, everyone hit fucking pause. Go pull up Jacob Morgan's fucking roster and piss yourself. This dude is fucking stacked. I'm not even going to look at it right now. I really don't even want to talk about it. This is horrifying. The odds here are 56%. He is playing Team RDC, owned by Ryan. 44% there. Obviously, we're going to roll with Jacob, JT, and Company. This motherfucker has Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp. And Matthew Stafford.
Stafford with the Cooper Kupp stack is
and
nice.
This team, I don't know how this happened. This looks a lot like my team last year in the other league that I won, where it's just like, how the fuck did all these dudes end up on one team?
Hold on real quick. I got a start-sit question. I was going to bring it up earlier, but I forgot. So Jacob's got Cam Akers and Gabe Davis. So he's currently has Gabe Davis on his bench.
Gabe Davis.
Akers in his starting lineup. Not a big difference from his projection, but I think I would lean Gabe Davis as well.
I would lean Gabe.
Especially for week 1.
Well, let's not help him out. This dude's probably going to
I don't think you go wrong.
He's not going to be able to listen to this podcast in time. Let's be real.
And then, I mean, Ryan's team, there's just not enough firepower here. There is some good players. Let me pull it up here real quick. I mean, he's got the Llama. A.J. Dillon, I'm really big on this year. Keenan Allen, I really think is going to be huge. I think the AFC West in general is going to be huge because all those games are going to be shootouts. It's going to be.
I want to talk about something real quick. How old is Mike Williams? He's 26, 27.
I want to say 29. I can pull it up.
Keenan Allen's like 29, 30.
Wait, did you say Keenan Allen or Michael Thomas?
Mike Williams.
You said Mike Williams?
Yes.
Jeez. It fixed my ears.
The only reason I say that while you guys are looking that up is, yeah, those receivers are electric. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are phenomenal receivers, but they are getting up there in age. And
Mike is 27.
27, okay. So he's still youngish, but if I remember correctly, Keenan Allen's like in his 30s, and obviously he's more of like the route runner for them, so he can kind of keep that as long as his knees stay healthy. But
yep, Keenan's 30.
They really need to start looking at drafting some receivers or developing some receivers.
What's Josh Palmer is an interesting guy there in L.A., so it's something to keep an eye on. I mean, I think Allen and Williams have had their injury history, missing a few games here and there. So Josh Allen's still a younger guy. He's coming into year 2. He's that number 3 wide receiver there, and I think he's a really good prospect. So something to keep an eye on for depth. But yeah, definitely down the road. I mean, they're gonna have to supply weapons for Herbert to compete in the AFC West for the foreseeable future. Go ahead, Vinna. Keep your picks going. So you got JT and company. You're really leaning on the projections here. Do you have any upsets?
Yeah,
he picked himself. He picked himself.
That's right.
I'm picking an upset in the next round as well, but we're also just going to establish a quick assumption that everyone knows that at any given time someone could get hurt. So it's going to be really hard it'll be hard to pick against Jacob's team at all until
that's
something else happens.
That's fair.
Our next matchup. Recurring guest Galactic Empire versus Team Graham Godfrey.
What a team name.
Odds. The Galactic Empire 52%, Graham 48%. I am going to roll with Graham here. I'm also going to declare this as the potential game of the week. If you guys just pull up these rosters here, we're going toe-to-toe at any position. I'm just going to read it down. So, Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Burrow. CMC versus Derrick Henry. Joe Mixon versus James Conner, so there's a win there. But you could go down this whole list. Jared has Travis Kelce. Graham has Mark Andrews.
This will be a really competitive game. I like this pick for game of the week.
I really think so. I will give it the upset, the current projected upset. I'm going to give to Graham because I think with Joe Mixon, he's really going to be leaning on Joe Mixon to get a lot of those points. A lot of Joe Mixon's points come out of the backfield on those catch and runs.
Galactic Empire still has 6 quarterbacks on his roster.
Hey, they don't call it an empire for nothing.
QBU.
So with Joe Mixon probably getting a chunk of his points from tosses from Graham's quarterback, Graham also has Jamar Chase. I cut off one line. I should have gone down one more possession.
Yeah, that Burrow
These
Chase
are 2 loaded
sack.
rosters, guys. This is going to be game of the week. So I'll give the upset for the reasoning that Joe Burrow is going to take away some of those points or at least split them with Joe Mixon / the Galactic Empire there. But Jamar Chase, he has that link up. Graham does. I will give this upset in the game of the week projection to Team Graham Godfrey. Graham Godfrey won. I apologize. It's Graham Godfrey won. Team Graham Godfrey won.
Yeah, get it right here.
Why don't you say his full name one more time?
This is fucking team names.
What's his birthday? What's his Wi-Fi password?
Graham, if you're listening, please reply in the comments with the last 4 of your social, as well as the first 5 digits. And the final match up, we have the London Bridge, owned by Blair Jorgensen. No, beep that out. He doesn't have his last name in. Shame on me. Blair, you can file a...
That's the London Bridge.
The London
God
Bridge,
damn it.
owned by recurring guest Blair, playing the Arrowhead Choppas, owned by Nate. We've
defending
asked him to come
champion.
on.
Defending champion
Defending
Nate.
champion. Okay. The odds here are 54% London Bridge, 46% Arrowhead Choppas. I'm gonna stick with the odds here and go with the London Bridge. Jalen Hurts. He has Jalen Hurts, and I just absolutely love Jalen Hurts this year. Of course, he also has Patrick Mahomes there at the top.
There's an A.J. Brown stack there.
Yes, yeah, Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown.
We got stacks like this all over the league.
You talk about JT and Company's team, but let's be real. Like, London Bridge, it's a pretty good team. You got Pat Mahomes, Eckler, Swift, A.J. Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Hawkinson, Edmonds, Lazard, Hurts.
See,
and then
I am low on Lazard and I'm low on Judy. So that was huge to me.
I'm also kind of low on Hawkinson there.
Well,
Are you?
I'm low on Hawkinson, but
well, what's kind of really put the nail in the coffin for me on Hawkinson is that Jared always targets him in every single draft he ever does. So by that fact, I just have to move Hawkinson down. I think the Lions is that their offense is just changing. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown really proved himself last year, and I think he's going to have a legit role in this offense. And DeAndre Swift is going to do DeAndre Swift things, and eventually, what is his name? Jameson Williams, J-Mo is going to be back and ready to rock and roll eventually. I mean, I just think he's going to have his spike weeks, but I think he's going to have some games where he's not doing a whole lot.
Yeah. I will say I have a little more upside the more I think about Jerry Jeudy, just because, I mean, look how good he turned Tyler Lockett. That him being fucking Russell Wilson. Jesus, mind blank there. But I think Russell Wilson's really going to figure out who his favorite receivers are. And, I mean, Jerry Jeudy, he's a really good route runner. I mean, you saw that at Alabama. He's a good deep threat. I think he's going to, do himself well there in Denver. I think he's going to be halfway decent. Plus, I mean, for week 1 matchup, you're talking about the revenge game for Baker Mayfield and Carolina playing the Browns. Week 1, fucking Denver's playing Seattle. So I think Russell Wilson's going to be lighting the field up. So I think at least for a week 1 matchup, I think it's a pretty safe bet.
I mean, to those respects, I would say that Denver's going to shithouse the Seahawks and be handing the ball off to Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon the whole time.
Love it.
That's how I see that going down.
Sure hope so.
Unfortunately, we don't want the Broncos to win any football games here on this podcast. For our defending champs, I mean, he's got Dalvin Cook. That's rock solid. Devontae Adams is there. I'm huge on Mike Williams, Hunter Renfrow. Oh, my God. He's going to love having both of those dudes.
He's got Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and Hunter Renfrow. That's a Raiders stack if I've ever seen it.
Yeah,
he needs to go out and try and trade for
Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Who's on Jacobs' roster.
I would honestly be willing to trade Tom Brady for Derek Carr in Dynasty. Jacob's going to be in it to win it this year.
Especially, with all the uncertainty of Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so just kind of a similar conclusion to a couple other previous games we've talked about. I just think the Arrowhead Choppas, you got some good pieces, but I don't think you have enough firepower here in week 1 to bomb this bridge. So reviewing our winners, War Boys versus the Ramondre Raptors. I'm going to win that game.
The Ramondre Raptors.
Lance Refrigeration is going to take down the Sunshine Squad. JT and Company is taking down Team RDC. Team Graham Godfrey 1 is going to take down the Galactic Empire. That sounds really cool. I would love to take down the Galactic Empire. There's movies about that shit. And the London Bridge is not coming down against the Arrowhead Choppas. We're going to track these all year long. You guys are going to know my record on these picks. We'll update you on that every single week.
If he picked your game wrong, don't hold back. Let's give Nick as much credit here whatever.
Give me hell. I just picked half this fucking league to lose tonight. You hear me? I'm calling all you out. Let's see it.
It's just so good to have fantasy football finally back and just football in general. I mean, we got a little bit of taste of it with college football last weekend, but NFL literally starts tomorrow. Could not be more excited, and we'll try and keep this thing rolling during the season. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on here today?
Let us know what kind of weekly shit you guys want to hear, because this is getting really exciting.
Yeah, we got some plans, so we'll just kind of take it week by week. See how it goes. Want to just keep the LOC members listening. So really just trying to do it for you guys and just be excited about the league as we go. So thanks for listening.